Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. As promised, this is part 3 of my DJI Osmo 360 adventure. The first was a deep dive into Osmo 360 itself. The second was a head-to-head with the Insta360 X5, and now it's time for the Action 5 Pro showdown. And yes, I will also compare it to the DJI Pocket 3. Maybe that video is already up by the time you're watching this, so check the links down below. Before we dive in, quick disclaimer: there are no sponsors hiding in the background here. No free buys, no sneaky brand deals. I bought both of these cameras with my own hard-earned money. Everything you hear today is 100% my opinion. You might agree, you might totally disagree, and that's fine, because I'm just here to share my own experience. DJI Osmo 360, a bit heavier and chunkier than the Action 5 Pro. The numbers: Osmo 360 comes in 183 grams or 6.44 ounces, while the Action 5 Pro comes only 146 grams or 5.2 ounces. Not a massive difference, but hey, when you're mounting it on your head, carrying it all day, those few grams start to matter. Plus, lighter usually means less of a workout for your neck. The DJI Osmo 360's big trick is obvious: it shoots gorgeous 360 footage up to 8K 50 FPS. The Action 5 Pro, on the other hand, is your classic action camera, not 360 magic, but still one of the best action cameras in the market. So to keep this fair, we will compare both in single lens mode. In that mode, the Osmo 360 can do 5K at 60 FPS and even 4K at 120 FPS. The Action 5 Pro tops out at 4K 120 FPS. So yeah, both can handle buttery smooth slow motion, but the Osmo 360 gives you that extra bump with 5K. When it comes to photos, the Action 5 Pro takes the lead, 40 megapixels versus 30 megapixels on the Osmo 360. More detailed, sharper shots. For me, the big question is, can a 360 camera actually replace a traditional action camera in single lens mode? Can I get the same results, or at least close enough so I don't have to carry both around? Basically, can the DJI Osmo 360 be the Swiss Army knife of the camera world? Well, let's find out. Croatia, what a stunning place. Crystal waters, sunny skies, and two cameras fighting for bragging rights. The DJI Osmo 360 is flexing its muscles with 5K 60 FPS, while poor Action 5 is stuck at 4K 60 FPS. You'll think 5K will mean razor sharp footage, right? Well, look at the trees behind the boat. The Osmo 360 turns them into a blurry mess, like it just forgot how to focus. Meanwhile, Action 5 nails the sharpness like a pro. Come on, Osmo 360, you are shooting 5K. You should be showing off, not taking a nap. At first glance, both cameras look fantastic here. But look closer, the Osmo 360's colors are just a bit shy. Less contrast, less saturation. The Action 5 pops a little more lively, more Instagram ready. And sharpness? Even though Osmo 360 is rocking 5K, Action 5 Pro is just slightly sharper in the center. Zoom into some distant points and surprise, the DJI Action 5 actually wins this round. Osmo 360 is still on 5K 60 FPS, Action 5 still at 4K 60 FPS. This time I focused on center sharpness, and finally, the Osmo 360 takes the win. The flower details look crisper than on the Action 5 Pro. Good job. Osmo 360, you earned 1 point back. Similar story as before. Osmo 360 is a bit flat in color compared to Action 5 Pro. The blue offset lens cloth looks bright and vibrant on Action 5 but muted on Osmo 360. Even worse, look at the bricks. Action 5 keeps them sharp and detailed, while Osmo 360 makes them look a bit soft. And remember, this is with Osmo 360 shooting in 5K. It's like buying a sports car that drives slower than your family sedan. Now let's have a look at the light transitions. This is where things get interesting. Osmo 360 tends to overexpose just a little when moving from dark to light. It's like it panics every time it sees the sun or the light. The Action 5 Pro though handles the exposure much more gracefully. Step outside from a dark room and Osmo 360 loses some highlight detail, while Action 5 keeps the outside visible. Keep walking and Osmo 360 suddenly snaps to the highlights, changing exposure in a very obvious kind of awkward way. Action 5 loses a bit of shadow details, but its transitions feel much more natural overall. We are walking the beautiful streets of Croatia. At first everything looks great, but turn the corner and boom, Osmo 360 goes soft again. Look at that window. Action 5 Pro keeps it sharp, Osmo 360 not so much. Then I point the camera to the sky. Osmo 360 blows out the highlights, while Action 5 managed to keep the details in both the shadows and the bright sky. Keep walking and Osmo 360 finally fixes itself, but Action 5 didn't even need to. It was already good. The walls in these narrow streets get a bit blurry on Osmo 360, while Action 5 still keeps decent detail despite the lower light. Not perfect, but still sharper. Now let's move on to a favorite test. Both cameras lock to 4K 60 FPS and no excuses this time. And now we clearly see it. Osmo 360 flattens the image compared to Action 5. The clouds lose their beautiful texture and look like one big cotton ball. The Action 5 on the other hand shows you every little piece of that cloud. Zoom in on the bolts again. Once again Action 5 gives us a sharper image and Osmo 360 gives you very soft image, very blurry image. Even the lighting condition is very perfect. Now let's have a look at the dynamic range test. DJI claims 13.5 stops of dynamic range for both cameras. So this should be interesting. Here you can clearly see the Action 5 Pro handles the sun like a pro, nicely exposed highlights, while the Osmo 360 just throws in the towel and overexposes. But wait, Osmo 360 does a better job with the shadows, keeping them brighter and more detailed. Action 5 meanwhile sacrifices some of that shadow detail. As the sun starts to set, the differences get even smaller. Osmo 360 still leans toward exposing foreshadows, giving you a bit more detail in the darker parts of the frame. Action 5 Pro keeps the sky looking gorgeous with more highlight details. My favorite shot from the entire trip. So good I made it a cover photo for this video. Both cameras look stunning, but personally I love the look from the Action 5 Pro here. The sun is warm and yellow. Clouds go all purpley and dramatic. It's like a Salvador Dali painting. Is the Osmo 360 bad? Absolutely not. This one really just comes down to taste, but for me Action 5's extra color detail gives it that little wow factor. Overall, I can't really crown a winner in the dynamic range battle. Both cameras do an excellent job in challenging lighting conditions. So in short, Osmo 360 says, I'm here for the shadow, while Action 5 says, I'll protect the highlights at all costs. Neither is wrong, they're just picking different battles. Either way, 13.5 stops or not, both deliver very respectable dynamic range. Both cameras start with a wide 155-degree FOV, plenty wide for action shots. But the Osmo 360 has a trick up its sleeve, boost mode. This stretches the FOV all the way to 170 degrees, which is crazy wide, but at the cost of some noticeable distortion. With Action 5 Pro, you'd have to buy a separate FOV lens to get this wide, but with Osmo 360 is built-in. Free bonus, and honestly, the image quality in boost mode is surprisingly good, way better than standard single lens mode. If you love POV shots, like showing your hands or what you are doing, you are going to love how immersive this looks. Both cameras can shoot 4K at up to 120 FPS. The catch with Osmo 360, you need to use boost mode for 120 FPS, which again means some distortion. But the good news is that image quality and dynamic range are excellent in this mode. But if you want to go super slow, Action 5 Pro pulls ahead with its 240 FPS option, though only in 1080p. Osmo 360 tops out at 120 FPS max. Literally on paper, Osmo 360 has the upper hand here with its bigger 1-inch sensor compared to Action 5 Pro's 1/1.3-inch sensor. Bigger sensors usually mean better low light performance. But this is a big but. The Action 5 Pro has DJI's AI-driven Super Night mode. This cranks up the ISO, cleans up noise, and uses AI magic to restore lost pixel details. At the time of this video, Osmo 360 doesn't have Super Night mode, at least not for single lens shooting. It does have it for 360 mode though. So for fairness, I will first compare both cameras without any AI enhancements. We are walking through a passageway in Split, Croatia. Beautiful place, tricky lighting. Both cameras adapt nicely at first, but once we're inside, the Osmo 360 starts showing some noise in the footage. And that's with noise reduction set to 1. Action 5 Pro, using the exact same setting, delivers a much cleaner, noise-free image. Both cameras stabilize while in the dark, so the Action 5 shows a tiny bit of jitter here and there. The Osmo 360 keeps the footage brighter but sacrifices detail, giving us a slightly blurry image. Just look at the ceiling, it's soft and mushy on Osmo 360 but nice and sharp on Action 5 Pro. So Osmo 360 brighter but blurrier, Action 5 Pro cleaner but with minor jitter. Pick your poison. Another gorgeous Croatian sunset, and again, the Osmo 360 shows a little noise in the shadows, while the Action 5 Pro looks squeaky clean. Now into really dark scenes. This is where we unleash the Action 5 Pro's secret weapon, Super Night mode. And well, poor Osmo 360, no Super Night mode for you. Not my fault. Blame DJI for what I like to call a half-baked camera. With Super Night mode on Action 5 Pro gives us a much clearer, brighter image. Meanwhile, despite its fancy 1-inch sensor, Osmo 360's footage is noisy, grainy, has trouble focusing. Switch Osmo 360 into boost mode and things do get cleaner and brighter, but at the cost of major distortion. Straight lines, yeah, forget about them. To be fair, Action 5 isn't perfect either. In very dark scenes, you can spot AI artifacts in the footage. But even with those, Action 5 generally outperforms the Osmo 360 in low light, which is a bit embarrassing for a camera that keeps bragging out its 1-inch sensor. Now let's talk about the stabilization, the make or break feature for an action camera. Action 5 Pro has maximum horizon balancing up to 45 degrees, which is great, but for full horizon steady, you will need to drop the resolution down to 2.7K. Osmo 360 on the other hand lets you lock the horizon at 4K 60 FPS. You can spin the camera in circles, flip it upside down, that horizon stays locked. The trade-off, a pretty heavy crop, which might not be ideal if you want the widest possible view. And for underwater use, the Osmo 360 is waterproof up to 10 meters, but its lens design isn't really ideal for underwater shooting unless you buy a dedicated dive case, which as of filming this still isn't available in the market. The Action 5 Pro on the other hand can go up to 20 meters deep without any extra gear, and the underwater image quality is fantastic. If you're serious about underwater action shots, check out my separate video where I compared 4 different action cameras underwater. You will definitely want to see that. Photo shooters, listen up. Osmo 360 gives you 30 megapixel stills in single lens mode. Action 5 Pro gives you 40 megapixel, but here's the kicker. If you want developed images on the Osmo 360, you have to drop down to just 12 megapixel. Action 5 gives you 40 megapixel across all FOVs, no compromises. Personally, I'm not a fan of the stills coming from Osmo 360. They always feel a bit soft, so if you care about photos, Action 5 wins this round hands down. Both cameras are part of the DJI ecosystem, meaning you can use their mic systems like DJI Mic 2, which I am at the moment recording, Mic 3 or Mic Mini, or just plug in a Type-C microphone of your choice. But here's a neat trick from the Osmo 360 this time. Finally, you can use any of your Bluetooth headsets, AirPods, or any Bluetooth device via the DJI Osmo 360. For me, those Bluetooth headsets, unfortunately, they don't sound good. But it is still an option. If you have only AirPod and you want to use it with the Osmo 360, now it is possible. You can connect AirPods, motorbike comms, or pretty much any Bluetooth headset directly, which with the Osmo Action 5 Pro you cannot do this. As for onboard microphone quality, Osmo 360 delivers a more natural sound even on windy days. This is a microphone test in a very heavy windy day, and I set both of them to high wind noise reduction. Now I will read you a text. Once there was a cat named Mittens. Mittens lived in a cozy house. One day Mittens saw a mouse in the kitchen. The mouse was quick, but Mittens was quicker. Mittens chased the mouse out of the house. From that day on, Mittens kept the house safe from mouses. Yes, you will still hear some wind noise, but it won't turn your voice into Darth Vader. Action 5 Pro does an excellent job of reducing wind noise, but sacrifices a bit of vocal richness in the process. You lose some frequencies, making your voice sound slightly flatter. Both are solid, but if you want the best audio possible, I'll still recommend using an external mic, and my favorite one is the DJI Mic 2. I haven't tested the Mic 3 because I already love the Mic 2 very much. I don't think it can be better than Mic 2. Okay, let's wrap this up, guys. Both of these cameras come from the same company, and honestly, DJI is doing a fantastic job in the action camera world. The biggest strength of the Osmo 360 that is two cameras in one, a true 360-degree camera and a solid single lens action camera. That's super impressive. But let's be real. Despite all the fancy marketing numbers like 5K, 8K, 8K 50 FPS, 120 megapixel photo modes, the Osmo 360 doesn't actually beat the Action 5 Pro in real-world image quality. I tested it side by side with the Insta360 X5 and in my full specs video linked below, and the results are not what those big numbers promise. Does that mean it's a bad camera? Not at all. It's an amazing tool, and the creative possibilities with the 360 camera are endless. The limit is literally just your imagination. You can get impossible angles, film yourself as if someone else is behind the camera, and capture moments you just can't get with a traditional action camera. That said, if you don't need drone-like third-person shots and just want a straightforward action camera, the Osmo 360 may not be your best choice. Editing 360 footage is more work, file management can be a nightmare, and those giant file sizes will fill up your storage fast, and even then the final image still can't quite match a good old-fashioned 4K action camera. This is the third video in my Osmo 360 series, and there's still one more coming. I'll be comparing the Osmo 360 with my all-time favorite camera, the DJI Pocket 3. I'll leave a playlist of my Osmo 360 comparisons for you down below, so you can easily binge them. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit like, drop a comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and see you in the next one.